Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. As promised in my 2025 journal lineup video, I wanted to go ahead and do a first impressions / flip through of this 10-year diary from Midori. I hope that you enjoyed the video and find it helpful. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the Midori 10-year diary comes in two colorways. You can either get the navy shade with the gold accents, or you can get this shade which is a deep red with the gold accents. It comes with a hard linen cover, so for comparison I would say that it's similar or comparable to a B6 size. So this is just my B6 common planner. In terms of width, it's possibly just slightly shorter, but it is curved because of the binding, so it does perhaps look a little bit shorter. And as you can see, the length of it is about the same height as the B6 common planner. So it's a nice compact size that you can keep on like a nightstand or on a bookshelf and just use it every day. On the cover, it just says 10-year diary, and it has this beautiful door on it. The side here, then it also says 10-year diary, and it has a keyhole as well as a key down here, and it just says Midori, which is the brand. The back side is just blank, and as for the side here, it does kind of remind me a little bit of like a dictionary, and these basically just indicate the different months. So I actually have not opened this yet. I've only taken it out of the plastic wrapping and the cardboard box that it comes in. So let's go ahead and open this up. So flipping it to the inside cover here, we just have some blue pages here with a key design, and then you can write in what exact day you started it and when you ended it. So I'm not familiar with the Midori paper, but from what I saw online, then this journal includes the Midori diary pages. So from what I can tell so far, then it has this off-white cream colored paper, and the pages do seem a little bit thin. I'd say that it's probably similar to like the Leuchtturm paper, so I believe that one is about like 80 GSM. I don't think that it's as thin as like the Hobonichi or the Sterling Ink common planners, which are about 48 to 52 GSM. I'd say that this is a little bit thicker like the Leuchtturm, but as you can see, there is like a little bit of ghosting from the other side. So definitely something that you'll want to keep in mind. And if you're not familiar with the Midori diary pages, then perhaps it'll be a good idea to maybe do some swatches of pens to see which ones will not bleed through the page. So to start off, then we have a few pages of the prologue. As you can see, then these are technically like undated, so you can technically start this whenever you'd like, and then you can just go ahead and fill in the last two digits of the year. I am planning to start using this for 2025, so when I start this, I'll go ahead and just add the 25 behind the 20 there. As far as the color of the text, then it's kind of this muted blue shade. So it's not a black or a gray by any means, it's just kind of this deep muted blue. So you get a few pages for the prologue. So this is something that you could potentially just fill out the beginning of the year, maybe like set some goals or aspirations of what you would like to accomplish for the upcoming year. And so after that, then you just get this blank lined page that you can do whatever you like with, like taking notes or something like that. And then we have like a January cover page. And from what I read online, then each monthly cover page has a different door or a different gate is the terminology that they used. I'm assuming that this is going to be like the majority of how the pages look, where you have a little doodle icon that represents the month that you're in, starting with a key for January, and then this should be for January 1st, and then like I mentioned before, you'll go ahead and just add in the year that you are writing the entry in. So this allows you 10 different areas for the 10 years that you'll be writing in here. So there is one for each day, as you can see. Let's go ahead and flip over to February. So again, you have the lined paper here that you can just jot down like some notes or maybe like a monthly recap. And then for February, then it just introduces a different door. And as you can see, the doodle icon changes and it shifts slightly lower, and that's what creates the imagery on the side here where it just descends over the span of the book. And from what I read online, then these doodles are supposed to be like seasonal. So for February, then they are some mitten doodles. So one thing to note is that they also include Leap Day in this, which is really nice. They do have 10 different sections for it. So if you were really ambitious and want to try and keep this for like 40 years, that's something you can definitely do for this specific day. Moving on to March, then as you can see, we have another set of doors. And then for March, then it looks like we have a doodle of a butterfly as we kind of get into the spring season. And I do appreciate that they have these different doodles just so that you can quickly flip to whatever month that you're in and you can kind of just gauge where you are at. Although I haven't gotten there quite yet, but I believe that there should be 2 bookmarks. Yes. So this one, then it comes with a blue and red ribbon bookmark, which will be very handy so that you can just mark whatever day that you're on and easily flip back to it when needed. But yeah, for April, then obviously another door. And I believe this may be like a clover or perhaps a flower. I'm not too sure. But this book would need some breaking in. As you can see, it doesn't necessarily lay flat by any means, which may not be the most convenient, but I think maybe over time then it'll start to get broken into and perhaps lay flat better in the future. Here for May, then we have just a single door here. And then the icon that is included would be this adorable little balloon. I do really like that. And then moving on to June, you get another set of doors here. And then the doodle that they included is this umbrella. Oh, that's very interesting. The last day of June, then it looks like there's a rainbow. I guess that is a thing that some of these months will do, is that they'll just briefly change up the design, which is very interesting. For July, then we have another single door here. I do like that they switch up the designs of the doors every month. I think that that's just a nice and refreshing little touch. Here for July, then it looks like we have kind of like a sunflower doodle. And then for August, another set of double doors. And then for this design, then it looks like it is a fish. So the front part of the fish is over here, and then the tail end is over here. And then September, we have another single door, and it looks like the design is a mushroom. So that is very cute. It looks like the mushroom does end up changing a couple of times. As you can see, this one is colored in a little bit more, and this one has a little bit more of like a light stem to it. As for October, another set of double doors. And then the design that they did for October here are pumpkins. So that is very cute and very appropriate, I'd say. November here, then we have another single door. And then it looks like the doodle is a mug. So that is very fitting for the cozy season. And lastly, for December, then we have another single door, and it looks like the doodle is a reindeer, so that is very nice. I do really like that added touch. And then similar to the prologue that we had in the beginning, then we just have an epilogue here for all of the years that you can fill in at the end of the year. And then there is a memo page here, so I'm thinking what I will do for this page is possibly just swatch out some different pens. Something that I have been thinking about doing with this journal is possibly just changing up the color of pen that I use every year. So I think that this would be a very good page to just swatch out the different pens, see how it looks on this more cream colored paper, test any bleed through or ghosting. I think that that'll make good use out of this last page here. And then lastly, on the inside back cover here, then it just has some personal information that you can fill out in case you were to unfortunately lose this. Then hopefully someone will find it and be able to contact you to return it. But yeah, that is basically it for the flip through portion of this journal. So I just went ahead and swatched a few of the pens that I use pretty consistently on like a daily basis. I'd say that I mostly use gel pens, and so I definitely wanted to see how the gel pens held up on this type of paper, as well as to see what the bleed through was like. So I'll quickly just go ahead and show you swatching out all of the pens on this very last memo page. My first impressions is that the paper does seem pretty nice. It is reminiscent of the Leuchtturm 1917 paper, in my opinion. And I went ahead and just tested out a ballpoint pen, a good amount of my gel pens, my Sakura Pigma Micron, as well as a Tombow Fudenosuke fresh pen in the hard tip. And I swatched the two fountain pens that I currently have in my collection, the Pilot Metropolitan as well as the TWSBI Eco with the Diamine Oxblood ink inside. And I went ahead and swatched out the Zebra Sarasa Vintage shades. And the reason why I did this is because ultimately, like I mentioned, I want to color coordinate every year in this diary, so I think I'll go ahead and use the Zebra Sarasa Vintage gel pens to do that, just because first off, I absolutely love these shades. I love these pens. They write very beautifully and they're extremely reliable, so I have absolutely no problem using them. And I thought that the vintage colors would pair very nicely with the vintage aesthetic of this entire diary. And second, there are exactly 10 of these shades, so that's perfect for one shade per year. And then in terms of ghosting, there is just the slightest bit of ghosting with all of the pens, unfortunately. I'd say that perhaps the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen tends to ghost a little bit more than the rest. But as I was alluding to earlier, I'd say that it's pretty comparable to the ghosting that you may experience with the Leuchtturm 1917 paper. Fortunately, there is no bleed through, which is personally something that I would be more concerned about over ghosting. So I personally do not mind the ghosting, since I can definitely tell that this is thinner paper, but that is something that you'll want to keep in mind if you are interested in one of these diaries, or perhaps just a journal with the Midori paper inside. And in terms of my first impressions, I just really do love the look of this. I think that it looks very classic and it'll be just a very beautiful memory keeping journal. I guess we'll see how much it's able to withstand 10 years of use. So I think maybe an idea that I can do for future videos would just be to check in and check out like how well this is holding up and check the binding on it. Like I mentioned, I do hope that as it gets broken in that it'll actually lay flat, but that would be something that I will have to report back on later after some use. Now, I personally don't mind the red and gold, and like I mentioned, they do have a blue version in case that is more of your preferred color scheme. One thing that I wish that they would do is possibly just add a few more neutral colors to this. Like, I honestly probably would have just preferred like a black, but it's totally fine. I mean, like, it'll be another 10 years before I would consider getting a new one of these anyway. That's plenty of time for them to potentially come out with new shades. If not, then they always have the blue one that I can go to next if I would like to continue this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to using this. Like I mentioned in the previous video, I think that it's just such a precious thing to have, and it'll just be so rewarding at the end of it to be able to flip through this and have accumulated 10 years worth of memories and things to look back on from my life. I hope that you found this video helpful if you were considering getting this specific diary. I hope that this has helped you make a decision on whether or not you would like to pick this up. Midori also offers a 12-month diary, a 3-year diary, as well as a 5-year diary, and I believe that those do come in a few more shades compared to the 10-year that only comes in the red and blue. So those are definitely something to consider if you would like to start doing something that's a little bit more extensive than just an annual planner. But there are also options that are a little less daunting and not as huge of a commitment as the 10-year. So if there are any remaining questions that were not answered in this video, then please do let me know down below. I would love to get back to you on those and just try and be as helpful as possible. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.